Well, hello. I am the session before lunch, so I'll try to not be too long so we can all get to lunch on time. So my name is Natalie. I'm going to be talking about how route optimization can double your business. Before that, give you a little bit of background about myself. So I started off as a special education teacher. I'm originally from Wisconsin in the United States and then moved to Nashville, Tennessee. So I taught for 2 years. During that time, I really worked with a lot of high-need kiddos that needed me to create professional education plans for them. And so I learned a lot about how to create lesson plans designed for their specific needs, how to assess, and then how to make sure that they were continuing to grow throughout their progress. From there, I took a leap and then started my business career at Nixon Power Services. So Nixon Power Services is a generator company. We distribute Kohler, now known as Resco generators. We are the world's largest distributor. And so during that time, we had just purchased Microsoft Dynamics, and we were using it out of the box. So we were just using the customer service side of it. But with the generator world, it's a little bit different from your typical sales cycle. So it's a lot more project management focused and less sales focused. The lead time for a generator is about 1.5 years. So salesperson sells it, and then there's 1.5 years of project management that goes into it. So we decided to hire on a full-time developer in order to create some customizations to the platform. Fast forward that to around COVID time, we decided to launch that customized solution into its own company, now called taskbridge. And so I was taken on that team to help onboard new clients, help create a training curriculum for it, and basically just get the clients up and running on this new tool. We didn't really know how it was going to go. We didn't know where it was going to go. So it was me and another developer that were bringing on our first company. Soon after we started doing that, I shortly saw that there was just way too many customizations that she had to do by herself. So I just had her teach me anything that she could so that I could help her out. Fast forward that to today, we now have 8 team members on our team, and we have 9 companies utilizing our tool. So we've grown a little bit over the past number of years, which has been fun to see. From there, I have taken a position as a marketing and women in leadership advisor at the University of Tennessee. So I'm very passionate about education and wanted to help other women learn as well. So we meet about once a month and get to kind of help coach that curriculum. Today, I'm focused on helping individuals and organizations reach their potential. So what I love most is going into new businesses, having them whiteboard their entire process from start to finish, and then help them figure out how they can see taskbridge be a part of that. So that brought me to my first company. So this is about a company that is located in California. And when I first walked into the room, they had 1 technician, 1 coordinator, and 1,000 customers. And so at that time, they were using spreadsheets. They were not connected. They were using whiteboards. They printed out work orders for their technician, and the coordinator was about ready to pull his hair out, was not happy with the situation. So with that, we brought the solution of taskbridge. So taskbridge is the ultimate all-in-one solution for streamlined operations. I believe it is one of the only solutions designed specifically for the generator business. So we've taken the entire process of the generator world and created a solution for it. So when we first started out, we started with industrial sales. So those would be generators for data centers, hospitals, high-rise, stuff like that. Then we moved on to service sales, then rental, then residential, and now field service. So this kind of has this whole package put together for them. Everything from doing the sell of the generator to project managing it to creating a work order for your technicians to dispatching your technicians. And then we've partnered with Resco to create the app for the technicians. So taking a little bit of a step back so you guys kind of understand. So in the generator cycle, it's best practice to sell preventative maintenance contracts. So you want to make sure that your generator is looked at either once a year, twice a year, once a month, whatever it may be, so that if there is a power outage, it's ready to go. So when we first go into companies, the majority of the time they are manually creating every single work order. And that's fine if that's just one generator on a contract, but most of these contracts have 100 generators on them. So it's a lot of manual entry. And the only way that they can scale is to hire more service coordinators and hire more technicians. But that's not going to allow your company to scale the way that you want. So we presented them with this, and so this is kind of an ROI example that we have up here. So no optimization, perform about 3.5 work orders per day per tech. It's about $50 for the parts to do preventative maintenance, $300 for the labor, so that gives you $350 total per work order, 5 days a week, 260 days out of the year, gives you $318,500 per tech per year. So that's about average. So when we bring taskbridge on and we worked on the optimization and the automation of the work orders, putting them on the schedule board, and the schedule board kind of doing its job, we're able to at least hit 6 work orders per day per technician, which is basically almost doubling it, a little bit less than doubling it. So when we put those numbers on the board, that's kind of a real life example for them to be able to see that, okay, this solution may cost you, but in the end, you're not going to have to keep hiring in order to scale. You can keep the people that you have and scale from there. So this is an example on the left-hand side of what they were currently using, and then on the right-hand side, how it looks like when it's optimized. So basically just using a calendar to put on those work orders, and then we were able to optimize it in the field service schedule board. So how this works. So the first thing that we have to do is map the priorities. So sometimes you'll have different regions that are higher priority than others. Maybe they're in a fire area, maybe they're in a flood area, stuff like that. You also have to load in all of the technician certifications. So on each resource card, we're loading in what generators they can service, what generators they can't. And so that way we have their certifications built right into the tool. We're also putting in there where their starting location. So the majority of the time is the technicians will start in the office picking up their parts and everything on a Monday, and then the rest of the time going from their house. Then we have to rank urgencies. So a high priority one would obviously be if a hospital, if that generator is down, that's going to be a higher priority versus maybe just like a check on a battery or something like that for somebody whose generator isn't working at that time. Then we need to put this all into one package, which I'll show you in a little bit, is how it optimize it there. And then we just test and refine. So when I first bring this into companies, I'm telling them that I want them to start with the optimization, and then they can manually override it if they want to, play around with it, but it's really cool how much time back they get and how much more time they can focus on the customers and going after new customers when it is optimized. So I got a little video here just kind of showing you basically how this works. So we have our optimized schedule that is working. You can have it either load overnight, you can have it manually click when you want to optimize it. And so you can see that right now this is an overnight schedule. I've submitted it to be optimized, so it's taking all of the work orders that you have scheduled for that month. So when you go to create the contracts, you're going to say that you want those work orders to be in the month of June, and so it's going to take that in consideration. It's going to look at the technician certification. It's going to look at where they're located and all of that, and it's going to start booking all of these resources. So you can see we've booked all of those. I can go to the schedule board, and they put them on the schedule board. So this is a smaller example because they only had a couple of technicians, but you can see the routes and everything from there as well. So with this, going back to kind of my training background, somebody said it before, but change is scary. So whenever I start working with customers, that's a big point that I want to hit on with them. I've had technicians not take too well to change. I've had coordinators not take too well to change. And what we've got to understand is that when we're going into this company, I'm basically telling a service coordinator that everything that you do, I can optimize and I can make it automatic. So that to them sounds very, very scary. So what we've got to do is lead with empathy. And so listen to all of their concerns, build them training for what they specifically need. So we'll build training, we have like a curriculum, almost back to schooling, where you have to go through your classes and you have to pass in order to get to use the tool. We also have different video curriculum that they can go to, and then we have paper and pen as well. So built training a couple of different ways, give them space to test and grow. So it's a lot when you're first putting everything on them. So we try to kind of slowly integrate them into the system. So the first thing I'll say is, okay, let's just log in for today. And then they get used to kind of looking around, seeing what it looks like. Next week we meet, okay, let's create an account today, then let's create a work order. And so we do that very slow process so that they don't feel too overwhelmed and they feel a little bit more like they're in control and that they're the ones leading the charge. So when we do sit with these companies, I always pick out key team members that I know will be a great leader, because most of the time, people aren't going to listen to somebody coming into your company, but they will listen to people in their company that they look up to and have a voice. So if they're on your side and they know why you're doing this, they understand the process, it's going to be a lot more for them to adapt to it. And at the end of the day, it's all about communication. So a big issue that we see when we're implementing this is that service coordinators and technicians have broken communication, especially if your tools are not talking to each other. So with Resco and with inspection reports, we've been able to create a place where they can communicate with one another. So the work order that the service coordinator creates, if there's an issue and the technician is out there and completing it on his or her app, they're going to be able to put in that there's an issue. Coordinators will see that right away, and there's just a lot less back and forth. When we first started with our first company, the technicians were coming in at the end of the day and they had dedicated about an hour and a half, 2 hours just to go through questions on the work orders, and the coordinators could kind of ask them about, okay, you wrote this, but I don't understand what you wrote, so how much are we actually billing the client for? And so with Resco, we've been able to basically just build up that communication again. This is an example of a questionnaire that we built out. So we want to build in kind of those checks and balances with the generator world, and I'm not sure if it's kind of industry norm, but a lot of people are struggling to hire technicians. So we have a lot of new technicians coming into the field that need that training. And so with the inspection reports, we can build out that training within the tool, and it can kind of flag them that, hey, this is wrong, or you forgot to do this. And so that's all built within there, and it just makes the customer and experience a lot better. So with that, that's all I got for you guys. This is my QR code. If you want to learn more about taskbridge or connect with me, you can do that at that time. Thank you.